All right, folks, here we are. I had to turn on my camera myself. I'm doing a little solo podcast and trying to be like an octopus, you know, do everything all together, one man show, that sort of thing, to bring you some added value and, I don't know, my voice, right? I know some of you like my voice. You have posted on my stories and or texted me that I'm in your top 5 podcast. What an honor. Thank you so much. I am right below the famous Jeremy Scott and right below that guy, I think his name's Joe Rogaine, something like that. Rogaine. That's the stuff that I put in my hair. But yeah, all good, man. I'm grateful to be doing this, and if I can give value just to one person, then let's go. And plus, I love talking to myself and hearing myself talk. Just ask my wife. So here we are. As you know, I released my new book, Just Getting Started, and I'm excited about that. Thank you for everybody that's purchased a copy. If you would like to purchase a copy, just hit me up. I will send you a link. And if you are interested in anything that we're doing with the Built Different Mastermind or any of my insurance services or anything like that, just hit me up. I'll definitely take care of you. I'm not too busy for anybody out there. So I want to talk about, in essence, something I've been thinking about for a while, and with just getting started, reigniting my spark, I did a lot of the, let's just say, thinking back to my, not childhood, but let's just say 20s, early 20s. That's when I worked in the music business, and that's when I really started to integrate having fun, music, business, okay, all of that stuff together. And I was still in school and I was still doing school stuff, which is great. But where I really started understanding the music business itself was the aspect of you would get stuff played on the radio, or you would get visualization inside record stores. Now, for those of you that have never seen a record store, and there's a good chance you haven't because they're pretty much extinct, except for maybe a few eclectic ones. My friend Kimber Lanning owns an amazing record store, and we're talking real records, called Stinkweeds. Been around since I was probably 16 years old, probably longer than that. And I remember first going in there and hanging up posters and putting out flyers on records or CDs at the time that we were promoting for Warner Brother Records when I was doing my internship for Warner Brothers there. So that was my first taste of what I would call the aspect of marketing 101. And I got this internship through Warner Brother Records, through ASU, when I was working on my marketing degree. And WEA, Warner, Elektra, Atlantic, these are 3 record labels that were distributed by WEA. There are 3 initials. And I worked for the distribution company that got to distribute all the albums that came out on those labels. A lot of the bands nobody ever heard of. It was sheerly music marketing. So we had bands like Rule 62, Soul Coughing. Stop me if you've heard of any of these, because I'm sure a lot of you haven't. But then there were some like The Prodigy, Deftones, Alanis Morissette, she hit it big, Godsmack. Even then, there were also some popular bands that were very easy to get played on the radio, because really what happened was that they already had a basis. So when I was out promoting bands like Van Halen or Tom Petty, people already knew who they were, and so those were easier plays. But the whole thing that the record industry was trying to do at that point was, okay, cool, we have these men, women, these artists under contract, we got to sell a lot of records. And so even if it was a popular band with a popular name, if they wrote a dud, it didn't really matter to the label. They were going on the name recognition, and they were going to do whatever they could to sell as many of those records, albeit good or not. They were going to sell it to their base and try and find others to buy it as well. So they made a lot of their money off of the hits. And if you read, I just read Alex Van Halen's book, Brothers. It talks about him and his relationship with Eddie Van Halen. As you all know, if you know me, I'm a huge fan of Van Halen. This all will tie together, trust me. But he talks about how the music business, again, is a business, right? And the business of it entails just like these record labels at the time, like 1 in 100 would make it, and they just needed that one. And it's kind of like Silicon Valley, a lot like what I've learned with this tech company I'm involved with called Sinatra, and the things that go on, and the education, the expensive education I've gotten so far with all of that. A lot of people invest in a lot of companies, put a little bit here, a little bit there, and it's kind of like playing the lottery. You don't know what number is going to hit. You just hope one of them hits. And in a very, rare time, if two hit, you're doing really well. So think about the Ubers of the world. Think about PayPals. Think about those types of companies. Whereas back in the the 90s, early 2000s, those were the ones that were doing it. We don't see a lot of that anymore. So I got to thinking as I wrote this book, and I was thinking about more stuff and things that I was doing. I was thinking to myself, okay, where are we now in a society? Where's the marketing value of what's going on in today's day and age for any business? And I don't care what you sell, whether it's a service, whether it's your time, whether it's a product, whether it's a contract. How are we getting that business? What is going on behind the scenes or in front of the scenes in order for us to create enough value, create enough want, create enough need to solve a problem for somebody, and for us to get that attention as the problem solver, right? So we're in the age of digital technology. We're in the age of Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, like a lot of products obviously sold on there. And in the very beginning, when you could just, get followers left and right, you could put stuff out there because you had a population of people that were on there but hadn't quite figured out algorithms, or even the companies themselves haven't really figured out at the time how to monetize the advertising. Now I feel we're in a position where the advertising can still work. You got to be really good at it. You got to know what you're doing, and you got to find people that can give you analytics and understanding that if you spend $100, the possibility of getting this and this are this. Not if you spend $100, yeah, you might get some business, right? And I think a lot of times I've been guilty of that, just throwing money at, bad to expect good, and not have any sort of responsibility on myself to understand the rules of engagement, to understand that, probably wasn't a good idea. So I start thinking about it. I'm like, okay, this can really work, but I got to find the right person, people, company, agency, that sort of thing to help me spend my money so that I can make more money, to pay them more, to make more, to spend more, right? It's kind of like one of those circles, not to find somebody to spend money with and then not make any money, and then keep spending money to not make any money, right? Like, I get it, like vanity metrics, maybe that works for somebody, and I do that in print publications because I still feel it's like something you can touch and feel. So like if I can pay a good local company to have my picture in a magazine that I know that gets distributed, and if I get a bunch of eyes on it and maybe get an account here or there because they see it, it's like this relevancy, it's this authenticity thing, it's this I am seeing this over and over thing, and I get one call for this amount, I can understand that can work. The online game thing, I'll just be honest with you, has really eluded me. And so as I was thinking of a name for this podcast, I'm just gonna call it hanging flyers, right? And we all know what flyers are. We've all seen the penny pincher coupon book. We've seen the the different types of door hangers, right? All that sort of stuff. And all this stuff takes labor. It takes time. It's during the election. How much stuff did you get in your mailbox from both parties? Left, right, middle, center, above the top, below the bottom. I mean, I can't even tell you how much money they spent on hard advertising, physical advertising. Not to mention that obviously the text messages and the other stuff, but why did they do it? Because it works. It still works. I still go to my mailbox and I'll still pull something out And if I see it, it's worked. It doesn't necessarily mean that I have to buy it, but if I see it, it works. There's a guy, Russell Shaw. I got to give this dude credit. He's a real estate agent out here in Arizona. Been around forever, probably since I was a kid. The guy must be 300 years old by now, right? And Russell Shaw has a newspaper. It's almost like a rag, like a local rag, and he targets certain areas. And in there, it's got his name and all of his stuff in it, where you're almost getting like this newspaper, but it's a flyer for him and added value, what's going on in the marketplace. And so to design something like that, which I've done with bar restaurant insurance, I've done pamphlets and flyers and stuff that I put in bank bags and I hand out. A lot of that's modeled off of people like Russell Shaw and some of these others. Yes, you're gonna spend money on hard product, and you're gonna have to find a way to distribute that. You either got to pay somebody or you're gonna have to go distribute it yourself. I remember Jeremy Scott would always tell the story how he would be in the air park and it would be summertime and he would walk around the local businesses just handing flyers out. And that's how, literally from what I can remember him saying, that's how he got his business started. People would start coming in for group training and it'd be like discount coupons and stuff. So that stuff still works. And I think a lot of times when we talk about hanging flyers, people, they dismiss it. Some water. People dismiss the power of what that is. And to me, what it is being present in the moment with another human being. It's creating that relationship. It's handing somebody something of value, and albeit it's a piece of paper, the piece of paper is not the value itself. It's the energy behind the paper that you're giving to somebody for them to have a problem solved if they have that problem. And again, it's a numbers game. You pass out 100, you get 10 back, you've had an amazing response, right? And you got to keep trying, and you got to keep doing, and you got to keep coming up with creative ways. And so a lot has changed. Yes, again, talking about online marketing, not knowing what you're getting. Now, there are ways to know what you're getting, and I am working on finding that out, and I will share that with you. But why not revert back to the old school way, finding your niche, finding your target, going to these events, going to these places, and always having something handy that you can hand out. And a lot of people's mindset is, it's kind of, I'm scared, or it's kind of cheap, or it's kind of, who cares, right? Who cares? You're proud of what you do, who you are, and why you're doing it. And if you are, promote it, and promote it in any way that you can. That's why we are here. We are here to get a job done, both as a human element and to have purpose. And if our purpose, for me, is selling insurance, that's my purpose. I'm proud of it. I'm good at it. I'm solving a lot of problems for people because it's something that's relevant in this world today. And it's what I've been doing for 25 years and what I hang my hat on, okay? Think about what you are doing and what your purpose is, and be proud of that if you are. And if you're not, that's okay too. Maybe you want to find something that you're proud of and you want to promote that in order to make money. Again, we're talking about energy transactions that we want to have. That alone will turn into a monetary value, but the energy's got to be good. And in my younger part of career, there were a lot of transactions that I made just for money and not energy. And when the energy was negative, it never turned out good. The end result was never good. It was always for a transaction, and it was always for an anti-relationship. Just a relationship based on how much, could I take, right? And at what cost? So now, 25 years into my craft, into my purpose, into my life, into my problem solving, I find other ways to help people, to give added value, to hand out flyers, to let them know what I do. I'm a 50-year-old man with a successful business. I don't have to do any of this. I don't have to do any of it. We could rest on our laurels and we can service the clients that we have, make them happy, keep trucking along, but that's not how I'm built. Like the Mastermind states, I'm built different. And I know a lot of you listening are built different, where you want to do more. You may not have to. You're probably in a good position, right? Come home, kick your feet up, you know what, I'm done checking emails for the day. I'm done returning calls. Somebody calls you, they need a problem solved, i.e., want a relationship, i.e., want to give you money to do it. I'll get back to them later. That's not how I'm built. I got a purpose. I'm going to get back to you now. I'm going to find out what's going on. If I didn't enjoy it, or I didn't want to do it, or it didn't take time away from other people that were special to me, yes, there's a time and place. I'm not saying sacrifice everything and don't have a life or those other things, but a lot of what's lacking in the world today is so many people are behind a mechanism that they hide behind, and they can get to it when they get to it, as opposed to being in front of that mechanism and getting to things ahead of the game and creating the physical and emotional relationships that other human beings deserve to have if they want to get a service from you, right? If they want their problem solved from you. And I can tell you, in my industry, in insurance, there's a lot of great agents and a lot of great people that want to do that, that want to bend over backwards. I've got 13 of them that work here with me, right? They know so much. They've been here forever. They love all of our customers, our friends, our clients, however you want to call them, our members. And there's a lot of other agencies, a lot of other people that are out there the same way. But, and think about this in your industry, okay? Scratch your head and just think about this for a minute. There are other people that are clocking in. They're looking to make a transaction. They don't care about the emotional state of the person on the other end or what their need is. They're only worried about their need. Their need to close the deal, to get it signed, to collect a check, and to move on to the next. And that's fine. It just depends on how you want to go through life with purpose and determination to be the best at what you do, okay? And to have it long lasting. Because I can tell you, the latter, that person, they get tired real fast. It's not something, to me, that's sustainable. I don't believe us as human energies, I just don't believe that we're made to transact that way. There comes a point where we get very delicate in life. We get older, we have regrets. We wish we said, I love you more. We wish a lot of things that we didn't do because we were too busy chasing something that never existed, right? So having those relationships and creating that value and doing it the way that is sustainable, to me, that's number one. And we all find it. We all find it within our career in a way that we do it. It doesn't come like, quick. You got to build a business. You got to build a rapport. You got to build those things within yourself, but it will come. When I was hanging up posters, funny story, I'll leave you all with this. When I was hanging up posters back in the day, I had a Saturn. I know I talked about this on Jeremy's podcast. So the Saturn was like a 4-door sedan. I don't think they're in business anymore. I don't believe they make these cars. I actually I bought the Saturn out here with my dad, Jimmy, my second dad. That's a whole nother podcast I can get into. He raised me since I was 2, and he helped me buy the Saturn at the Saturn dealership in Arizona. I believe it was like downtown Tempe. And I was so excited. I got this car after my Ford Taurus blew up. So let's talk about I had a Firebird from my grandfather. I got a Ford Taurus that was a Motorola company car that I drove from Atlanta to Arizona when I moved out here. And then when I got out here, I ended up getting a beige Saturn. That's what I drove to college, right? And it was good gas mileage, whatever, just normal sedan. I would think of like Civic, but not. So reliable. And in that Saturn, I would get posters and stickers and cassette tapes, all sorts of stuff, just stockpiled in the back seat, in the trunk, all that. And I'd have all this POP, point of sale would be POS. So POP, oh my gosh, what is it? There's a definition for that. Anyways, it was point of purchase, maybe, so paraphernalia, right? So it was stuff that I would go to Sam Goody's, I'd go to Warehouse, I'd go to Zia Records, I would go to Tower, any of these record stores. I'd come in with these posters, I'd give out the free CDs, I would be promoting the artist, I would be promoting the opportunity to hang this stuff up so when people walked in, they would see it and be like, what's that? Oh, that looks cool. Oh, didn't know that Tom Petty had a new record. Didn't know Madonna had a new record. Maybe those are a little extreme that people probably knew, but maybe it was like the Black Crowes and people were like, oh, this is cool. I'm gonna buy this because of something that they saw that I put up. Again, it was people enjoying a moment, coming in, being reminded, and seeing something physical that allowed them to make a purchase. And that to me was so fulfilling, and it was so cool to go into all these different stores. I would drive this Saturn all over town, and I would hang stuff up. I would document. I would write in my little journal, and I would take pictures of all the displays. I still have a lot of pictures. I probably should put this up on one of the thumbnails through here. And I would hang up these displays, and in these displays, I would then send back to the record label, let them know that I did it, and I paid for my own gas. Really, my parents paid for it. I believe I stole their American Express and took all the gas money from there. No different than what my kids do today. And probably went to about 20 stores a day for like 3 days a week, hanging up stuff. Now, that was cool, that was great, but the really cool part of my job was being able to go to concerts and bring people backstage to meet the bands, and I was like that liaison at 20-something years old where everybody wanted to know me sort of thing, or hey, did you get tickets? We did ticket give, we did all sorts of stuff. So we did added value and other stuff, and this is way before Facebook. This is way, I mean, we're talking like the late 90s, right? I'm telling you folks, hand-to-hand combat with hanging flyers and marketing, it still works. Remember, just like with anything, it's a numbers game. It just is. This is podcast 145. 145! I can't believe I've done 145 of these. I enjoy doing these. I'll keep doing them. Will this podcast blow up one day? Has it blown up? I don't know. It's a numbers game. Again, it doesn't matter to me because I have purpose. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm loving talking to you. I love the fact that when you listen and you give me a 5-star back or you send me a thumbs up about you got something out of this, one person or 10 or 100, doesn't matter. It's fulfilling. It's an energy back to me. It's knowing that I'm here on earth with my purpose, doing my thing. So I hope you enjoyed this. Keep hanging up those flyers. Go to Kinko's if you can find one. Go make some coupons. Do what you got to do. Figure out your niche, figure out your market. If you want help with that, contact me. Doing coaching here. I've got all sorts of cool stuff built up. Check out the show notes. And until next time, have an amazing day and know that DELO loves you. So, peace out.